Vladimir Putin tomorrow as he pushes for an end to the Russia-Ukraine war.
And in the Middle East, Iran is vowing escalation with the U.S. after the White House ordered airstrikes on the Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Yep, because we threatened Iran at the same time because we know they're behind it. And Yemen has answered today for our strikes over the weekend. We have knocked their drone attack out of the sky. Jackie Heinrich, who did a great job on Fox News Sunday, joins us now. Hey, Jackie.
She did.
Hey, good morning, and thank you, guys. Russia has refused to accept an unconditional ceasefire, but Steve Witkoff says the administration is still hoping to see that ceasefire happen within weeks. And tomorrow, President Trump is going to be looking for some concessions from Russia on his call with Putin.
I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday. And a lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance.
It's still not clear if Putin is moving toward a ceasefire or if this is a stall tactic, especially after a European intelligence service uncovered a document prepared for the Kremlin by a group close to the FSB, reportedly, laying out ways that Putin should delay while continuing to dismantle Ukraine, including with some of the moves we've seen play out so far and proposals we've seen from Russia. Over the weekend, leaders from 25 countries convened virtually. They put out assessments that Putin isn't serious about peace. They called instead for maximum pressure from the West.
How do you know President Trump isn't being played right now by Putin?
Well, look, that's almost laughable. I'll take President Trump in dealing with the likes of Xi, of Kim Jong-un, with Putin and others. Certainly, ahead of his predecessor, we know who we're dealing with. We know who we're dealing with on all sides. And we are going to engage in diplomacy. We are engaging in diplomacy, and that will involve both carrots and sticks to get both sides to the table.
Carrots and sticks. We are watching for more. Meantime, the administration launched an opening salvo to what we're told could be a weeks-long campaign against the Houthis in Yemen after they resumed Red Sea shipping attacks. The president had a very firm message for Iran. Listen.
There's no way the Houthis, the Houthis would have the ability to do this kind of thing unless they had support from Iran. And so this was a message to Iran. Don't keep supporting them, because then you will also be responsible for what they are doing in attacking Navy ships, in attacking global shipping.
Now, the Ayatollah rejected the president's offer for talks over their nuclear program, but the White House is still pushing to resume that conversation as Israel continues to push for a joint U.S.-Israel operation on Iran's nuclear facilities, guys.
Wow. Thanks, Jackie.
We're sitting on 4 years of deferred maintenance from Joe Biden, where in particular, when you talk about the Houthis, they were allowed for over 100 times to shoot at U.S. ships, to shoot at commercial shipping. 4 months ago, when we sent a ship through, it was shot at 17 times. To the Houthis, this isn't a one-night thing. This will continue until you say we're done shooting at ships, we're done shooting at assets.
There was the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, talking with Marie on Sunday morning. Come on over here. We'll show you what's happening in Yemen. Here's the Red Sea over here. Shipping traffic there has been hindered for some time now. Gulf of Aden down here to the south, all right? The strikes hit numerous towns throughout the country of Yemen, primarily in the western edge, southwestern edge. Sana'a is the capital city. That was hit. In Sada, this one up here near the Saudi borders, apparently where a lot of the leadership of the Houthi rebels live today. So this is one distinction that they have from these strikes. During the Biden years, they didn't go after the leadership. But under Trump this past weekend, that was one of their targets. How well they did, we do not know. We'll wait for a better readout on that. Hard to get. Yemen is one of the poorest countries in the world. Hard to get a readout what's happening there on the ground. Since November 2023 now, these are the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, right? 250 plus. Going back to October of 2023, these are the Houthi attacks on U.S. forces, 180 attacks. We've had the U.S. Navy out there for some time, and they've had a tough job. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, now a Fox News contributor. And, sir, thank you for coming on today, and good morning to you. Guys, let's show them the map here. This is what happens when you don't have freedom of navigation. You have to go around the southern coast of South Africa. It adds weeks to delivery, which computes to prices, et cetera. And this is Michael Waltz talking about the options on the table. As you know, sir, Iran is behind this. Here's Michael Waltz.
This was an overwhelming response that actually targeted multiple Houthi leaders and took them out. And the difference here is, one, going after the Houthi leadership, and two, holding Iran responsible.
Does that mean direct military action on Iran is possible?
Well, all options are always on the table with the president, but Iran needs to hear him loud and clear.
Sir, you know that the Saudis bombed the Houthis for 7 years, and they're still battling. How do you see this now?
Well, Bill, good morning. It's great to be with you. Two important things. One, President Trump made clear that we were going to take decisive action. You talk about the activity there for the last 7 years. It sounds like President Trump is thinking about something much bigger, much deeper, much more sustained, with an outcome that actually delivers the objective, which is to stop the Houthis from disrupting travel. The second thing that is so different here, Bill, from what President Biden did for 4 years, you'll remember I designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. Secretary Blinken came in and with a couple hours took them off the terror list. President Trump has now made clear to the Iranians, we know this is your money, these are your weapons, and we're going to hold you accountable. Where the Biden administration just refused to acknowledge that Iran had anything to do with this in a serious way. Same thing he'd done when Hamas attacked on October 7th. I think those two things give the United States and our Gulf Arab allies a real opportunity, Bill, an opportunity to stop these knucklehead tribesmen in Yemen from disrupting global travel, global sea lanes, and costing Americans lots of money and risking our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines as well.
Just one more question on this before I go to Ukraine. Waltz said Iran needs to hear him loud and clear, referring to President Trump. Last week we heard that he wrote the Iranian leadership a letter. Would this have been a part of that, do you think?
You know, Bill, I of course don't know what's in the letter, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. But if President Trump made clear not only were we going to hold them accountable for what the Houthis are doing, but what Hezbollah continues to do, what Hamas is still trying to rebuild, I'm pretty confident that there would have been a comprehensive explanation that Iran needs to stop the terrorism from their proxies, and that there'll be a real cost to the Iranian and the Iranian leadership itself if they don't change that behavior.
Okay. Let's move to Ukraine and Russia. Late last night, Air Force One came back to Washington. Some tough weather on the East Coast. I think it landed at 1 o'clock in the morning. On board Air Force One, the president was asked about talks with Putin.
I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday. A lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end.
What sort of concessions will you be seeking to have Putin make to get a deal done?
We'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants. That's up, it's a big question. But I think we have a lot of it already discussed very much by both sides.
So on CNN, Steve Witkoff says that they expect, according to the president, a resolution or some sort of deal within a matter of weeks. Is that overly optimistic?
Bill, I hope not, but the Russians will prove very difficult, I suspect. I think Putin believes he's got the upper hand. I think it was even overnight. He's still attacking into Kyiv even as these conversations are taking place. So this is going to be a very hard-fought set of negotiations. I suspect weeks means several weeks, but hopefully President Trump can put enough pressure on Putin that he will see that it's in his best interest to enter into a ceasefire for an extended period, and we can find a structured solution that prevents Putin from invading Europe ever again.
We are going to have many discussions on this because it could be some time before it's resolved. Thank you. Mike Pompeo, thanks for coming back today. Nice to see you.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.